Hello there guys, this is Knight79 and today I'm going to be bringing you a little guide on basically the politics side of thing, which the family tree. A lot of people that I talk to are a bit unsure on what's the best way to micromanage the family and sort of work out what's the best benefits that they can get. So I thought I'd do a quick little guide on the way I approach the family tree and what I expect to obtain from the family tree when I'm doing things that I need. So the first things we need to look at with the family tree, and I've used the Geats here as a good example because straight away the Geats have a nice large family. I'll go through a couple of the other factions and show you the kind of approach that you would make there. So the main thing to worry about with the family tree is the power bar. The power bar is a measure between, I'm not sure what the calculation is. If somebody has worked that out, it'd be great for you to leave a comment below so people can maybe micromanage a bit better. But it's your dominion measured against your total control. So this dominion measured against your control is calculated to make your power bar. Now the power bar is important because it's like, if anyone played Rome 2, you had your Imperium. So here we've got the Imperium. Now this just gives you a diplomatic bonus. So you'd have your insignificant, then your noteworthy, your impressive, inspiring, intimidating and terrifying. You get to like a minus 130 diplomatic penalty here. So this just gives you diplomatic penalties with all the factions. Whereas in Rome 2, your Imperium used to sort of give you penalties to your tax rates and things like that. Now, what they've done instead in Attila is they've put those penalties into your power bar. So as we look through, so if we were to go all the way down to the bottom, we'd get a nice big public order bonus, we'd lose integrity in our forces, all our generals would lose loyalty, we'd gain growth, and we'd lose tax. Now, if we go up, this sort of, it's the same public order, you can see it's slightly the same until you get to sort of the middling area here, which is balanced, and then you just -1 tax rate to loyalty. And then if we go the other way, we start to lose public order, gain integrity, gain loyalty. We start to lose public order and growth, integrity and tax rate. So as you can see, there's quite a few tricks to play here. Now, early game, with some empires, you may find that dropping your power bar all the way down to the bottom, although you lose loyalty and you lose a lot of tax rate, you gain a lot of growth and a lot of public order. Now, that allows you to basically, a lot of areas in the game, what I've found with most of the campaigns I'm playing, public order is a big issue. So if we wanted to drop this all the way down, that there are ways we can do this. So say we wanted to go all the way down to impotent, we wanted to gain the public order and gain the growth so that we can build up our territories quicker and we don't have to worry about garrisoning troops in towns, for example. So what's the best way to do that? Well, first and foremost, losing some control. Now, losing control isn't easy. It's sort of a dice roll thing. But one thing you could do is lose your dominion. Now, dominion, this is the easiest bar to balance other than the control. I like to sort of keep my control pretty low, so that one of the reasons is that if I ever want to move my bar up, I can use one of my generals and I can use this little ability down here, gather support. That gets you anything from 4 to 6% control. And 2 people doing a gather support will get you quite a bit of control, which will allow your power bar to move up. If you want your power bar to go down, the best way is by spending your influence points. Because dominion here is a measure of your family's total influence, including your wives, measured against that of other nobles. So there's 2 ways that we could do this. We could, essentially, if I wanted to lower my dominion, put him in office, there's 25 gone. Put him in office, I can't put him in office because he's too young. I could put him in office, and I can put him in office. So there's all of that influence spent. And then with Dag, I could pilfer funds. with this guy here, I could seek a wife. And basically, I'm just going through. And this one here, secure loyalty, for example. I could go and secure the loyalty there. So I've essentially spent all of that influence of the family. Now, if I wanted to raise this influence as well, another way to do it would be say, okay, let's raise some troops. Now, this would cost you a lot of money to do this, and I wouldn't recommend doing it at any time. But if you had a troop slot left, you could recruit one of the other nobles. So I'd probably go for Steiner and get another 18 influence into the other nobles, and that would lower all the dominion. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to end the turn. Okay. I'm not doing anything movement-wise or anything. Sorry for this. I should have turned this off. But what I want you to see is at the beginning of the next turn, is I want you to see how that's affected. So we were powerful. So I want you to sort of see how that's affected the Dominion bar. So, so here we go. This is all of my family political actions coming into play. Now, usually, if something like this happens and you got to turn it down, you could have a minus control. So it'd say minus 4% control if you turn it down. So we'll take a hand, but there we go. So unforeseen complications, stealing money, minus 4% control. Now, losing this control is not a bad thing. I'm trying to bring the bar down, so that's fine. Great. So balance of power's already come down from that one. The loyalty worked. The appointment worked. So all the appointments have worked. And as you can see, the Dominion bar's changed. And we've now gone from respectable. Sorry, we were powerful. And we're now down to respectable. So in one turn, by spending all the influence from my family, I've basically played this Dominion bar here to bring me down to respectable. So instead of being at... Where were we? We were in powerful. So instead of having minus 3 public order and minus 2 growth, I've now got myself minus 1 public order. Now, it can get tricky on how to do this, especially the control. I personally prefer to have low control and high dominion. What I find that means is that if I ever need to raise it up quickly, I can, because I can raise the control. If you've got full control, it's really hard. Really hard to lower your control. I haven't found decent ways to do it, and sometimes when you try to do things, and it works, so it raises your power altogether. So if possible, try and keep it with low control and really high dominion. I personally find that that's the best way to sort of bounce this bar around. Now, having said that, there are ways that you can spend your influence. If we have a look, we can assassinate. So there are things, we could assassinate generals, but why would you want to? Generals are you can assassinate wives and take wives out. So if you've got a wife, occasionally, if you're not spending the influence on your wife, you can end up with a wife that sits there with 400 influence. One of my great migrator campaigns, the king is on about 490 and his wife's got about 380. But for me, that's good because I like to have the high dominion. If I wanted to drop dominion at any point, I could assassinate the king's wife, losing 300 and odd influence. It's going to make a big dent in my dominion. So, playing these little things here are very important. Now, one thing I do like to try is always to have enough influence on my characters to make sure that I can keep them in office. These offices are really quite powerful. And they're in office for 8 turns, and at this time it's costing me 20. The higher level the general is, the more influence it costs to put them in office. And have a good look at your offices. You've got sort of the companion here, for example, with the Nordic tribes, companion. Recruitment cost minus 5% and plus 5% wealth from agriculture buildings, all regions. So this is good for generals. We go up minus 5% construction cost in governed province. So this is where you want your governors. We go up another one. Public order, govern province. So you want another couple. You'd want more governors in here. Your tribal chief. Replenishment rate. Tribal chief is you need to get... If you've got a main army, a mainstay army that is your biggest, powerful, most hard-hitting army, the one that you use all the time, the one that's going out and conquering loads of land, you want the general of that army in tribal chief as quickly as possible. You know, you're getting more recruitment cost, minuses. So you'd be on minus 8% recruitment cost, plus all your technologies that you can get. You can have a really cheap recruiting cost in that army. Not only that, but you get the replenishment rate. So as they're moving around, they're going to replenish a bit more. Then you've got your warlord. That could be a general. Although, again, that could be a governor. You know, there's no reason that couldn't be a governor. And this one, integrity of commanded force. If you've got an army with low integrity that's struggling with integrity, I tend not to struggle with integrity unless I'm it'd be really good for a horde, for example, but you get the 5, you can see where we're going. And then the minus upkeep, minus 6% for all units. So these offices are really quite important. They give you a nice, quick, easy way to get some good boost to your economy and your troops. Now, to move up through the ranks, you have to do a term in the office below. So if we wanted to say Hydric, not Hydric because he's not even in office, say Ring. So Ring's here, he's as a companion. And I want to get Ring as my main general, and I want him up to High Judge as quickly as I can. So I'd need to use him as my main general. Now, actually using him, winning fights, winning defences, capturing territory, raiding, things like that will earn him influence every turn. So he will get nice amounts of influence. He won't sit there stagnating, getting no influence at all. So, okay, by doing that, he will spend 8 turns in this office. Then I'll have to put him in here, 8 turns. Then I can move him to judge, 8 turns. Tribal chief, 8 turns. And, you know, then I can slowly move up. On top of that, though, there are other little things that do come into play. So if we look at the High Judge, for example, he's got to be 34. Okay, well, Ring's only 23. So he's got 11 years before he can get there. It's not quite the amount of turns, so we'd still have to wait. You know, so all our generals are quite young. So best one would be Giza. He's already 34, so we wouldn't have to wait the age limit there. Required rank 6. You're going to be putting a top-end general in there, so I would imagine by the time you've got through all those 8 turns and got through all the offices and he's at the required rank and earning the influence, you know, that's not going to be a problem. Leveling up generals, it's not a problem. So the offices, make sure that you use these offices. I've watched some guys on YouTube and on Twitch, and they're halfway through the campaign and they've got nobody in office. And you mention to them, why haven't you got anybody? Oh, they're useless. Really? 16% bonus to agriculture wealth? All buildings? All regions? How useless do you value that as? Because one of the things that if you look here, that I'm going to be building straight away is food everywhere. I'm only on 26 food. I want more. I want more than that. I want more growth. I want more replenishment from my forces. So agriculture wealth is a big boost of wealth early in the game. Construction cost, if you govern province, when you've got a governor in there, that's quite good. That saves money. So they all help. Now, each faction is different. You know, the Nordic factions have these. The Roman factions, which we'll have a look at the Romans in a second, they have it a bit different. Theirs are very, very military orientated. Now, so say now that I wanted to, we've sort of looked at how to spend our integrity, what we need to do to balance things out, and you know, in one turn I've shown you quickly this is how you balance this. Now, if I wanted to drop this even further, I don't spend any of this influence still. Boom, let's have a look. You know, I could divorce, and she's gone then. So let's hit divorce. I don't really want to because she's a good wife. She's religious, you know. I'd lose all that. Let's see. I could pilfer funds again, and I'm going to be spending my dominion. Yep, do you see what I mean? So I'm very close to being balanced. So I would imagine that by just doing those little things there, doing the divorce, doing this. In fact, I don't really want to divorce, but it's the only option that I've got. So let's see if embezzling will do. I'm just going to end the turn and then we'll skip it. I'll skip it in the video, guys. I'll edit the video so you can see. Alright, so there we go. We've embezzled the funds. Let's see how we're doing. Did it go down? No. So as you can see, we're still respectable. So the dominion's going down. So it's going to be difficult now to actually move because we've got no influence to play around with, and it's the control that I need to lose. So I need for political actions to come into place. And fortunately, there are events that you get. So occasionally you'll get an event that'll come through, and you can make an option for that. Now, if you know that you're trying to reduce control and things, you'll get to grips with some of them. They repeat quite a lot. There's probably a pool of about 20 of them, and they keep repeating. It's political incident, it's called. Now they will give you chances to gain things like mercenary pools and things, but occasionally the odd one will come along, like people are talking behind your back, what do you want to do? I just let them do it. You'll lose a lot of your control, and if it happens at the wrong time, it can cause you problems. You could end up with public order problems and things like that. So it's a very, very fine trick. Now I'm stuck here now. The divorce was probably the better option. You know, but I'm stuck here with a wife. What do I do with her? Things like that now. You know, I've got this guy. Oh, great. What do I do? You know, they've not got enough influence to be able to do anything. I could spend this influence, but that would raise the bar, and I'm trying to get it back down to balanced. So, you know, after a few turns, I mean, essentially, I'd have done some fighting by now, so some of these guys would have more influence. You know, I've not done anything. So there are things that you'd be able to do. So always have a look, every turn, have a look, make sure that you've got your offices filled, and look at spending in things like down here. So with everything in mind with the gates, I'm showing you how to try to lower your overall power bar. What I've decided to do is just boot up the start of a Vandals campaign here, having a look at ways to raise your power. So here with this, it's a migrating tribe. So things that are important are in integrity and loyalty and tax rate and growth. Okay, so in balanced, we're losing tax rate, we have no integrity. If we go down one to acceptable, we lose integrity and we lose more tax. So we don't want to be going down. If I was with a normal faction and I was having public order and loyalty problems, this is where I would want to be. I want to be at the lower scale with being in having settlements and things like that. Because as you look, you know, you get public order bonuses and growth. So as we move up, we're on negative public order, but we gain integrity and loyalty. So as you get higher, these sort of lend favour towards the horde type factions, because they have no public order, doesn't make any benefit to them until they settle. If they settle, the growth is a bit of a pest, but they can get so much growth every turn, it's not that much of an issue. But the integrity is really, really quite important. Let's say for this one, if we went for dominant, +3 integrity is a tier 2, tier 3 farm integrity negative. So straight away, just by maintaining this, we don't have to build another building there to cover that negative. We can do it with the family, and we can do it by playing the political actions in the family. So raising it, what's one of the best ways to raise? Well, first and foremost, I can spend 50 dominion, 50 influence here to gain 50 influence. But not only do I gain 50 influence in my family, but the other nobles lose 50 influence. So let's spend what, 20 influence? So I'm going to take in one turn, I'm going to take 70 influence out of the other nobles and put 50 more, well, no, and keep everything the same here. Adopting costs 50, I do believe. Let me just double check. So we'll do this again, we'll go for it again, yep. It's 50, so there. So a quick check. We're trying to go from balanced to respectable. Let's see if we get it. Yeah. I'm going to clip out the in-between scenes. Right, so we've into the fold, character adopted. And a shift in power, balance of power, current power 58. So where are we at? We're at respectable. So there you go. As you can see, in one turn. And that was just by adopting. I didn't even put this guy in office. Yeah, so just by adopting, I've shifted my bar. So all my forces now have an integrity bonus. And that's how I go up. Now I can raise this even further just by spending this here. But, you know, I do want other people in offices, so there are things to do. Now, another way to bring this up, and it's one of the reasons I like having low control, is I could use these wives when they get to 25 influence. So you were looking at 3 turns, 4 turns. I can gather support, and I'd gain some control, bringing this up even further. So these are just the little things that you need to look at every turn, is influence. Now, what I'll do is I'll flick over to one of my current campaigns when I've got a large family tree, just to show you sort of how I'd work that out. So here we have a faction that has a large family tree. This is my second attempt at the Vandals campaign. And with this being the Vandals and it being a migrator, I've discussed previously about how to lower your power bar by, you know, raising your dominion and things like that, by spending influence. So I was trying, you know, with a settlement and a faction that uses settlements, we want to be bringing the power bar down to balanced or below, so we get public order bonuses. With a migrator, on the other hand, integrity is really quite important, so we want to go the other way. We want to sort of go up, because as you can see, we start gaining integrity. So to bring it up, we want high dominion and high control. So the best way to do so is all your wives. You know, you can look at the amount of wives I've got, just gather support. I increase the control, and that was going to help me bring this bar up to where I need it to be. Now at the moment it's powerful, but with this large family tree I have so many options, and as you can see, I've made sure I've got my offices in place. I haven't really been moving through at the moment because these weren't, until I settled, these aren't of any value to me, apart from being able to move up. But, you know, maybe a judge would be good. But I want to make sure that all the recruitment costs are okay, because I'm constantly recruiting with these guys. So when you've got a large family tree like this, it's definitely, it takes up a few minutes of your turns to micromanage and make sure everybody's fine. Now, with this current campaign, I'm starting to think about settling. Now, I've raised everything up. A great way I did it, as I showed you, with the Vandals, was to adopt and spend these guys' influence. I made sure that most of my generals that I'm actually using are here now. So I've done a bit of a swap. I've kicked a couple of guys out of my armies, and I've put these guys in, so that when I use my armies, the influence of my other nobles goes up, bringing my dominion control down. I want to bring the control down. Best way to do that: embezzle funds. There's no negative to this. There is. There's a negative control if it fails. If it wins, you gain money. You know, so win-win. If it loses, I lose control, which I want to lose control at this current point in the campaign. If it doesn't, if it passes, I gain funds. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm sure everybody else would be as well. Now, just to, just really wanted to show you how a large family tree looks, and the kind of things that you have to do. It's a lot of planning. Now, as you can see, I mean, I've got a lot of children have died here. You know, you can get rid of that by just this little button here, hide or show deceased. So all the kids that have died to natural causes. Doesn't hide the generals that you've lost. I've lost a couple. That was a natural causes really early in the game. I was upset with that. It was about turn 4 I lost him. to natural causes. One of these guys died in battle and one was assassinated. The one that was assassinated as well was like a rank 8 general. That was my main general as well. I was really annoyed with that one. But these things happen. So that's the family tree side of things. It's definitely worth spending some time getting used to the mechanics of this. Play about with it. Learn with it. If it goes wrong, work out how to fix it. It can't really go stupidly wrong. All that you're really going to be looking at is your power bar, and it can be good to manage the power bar, but sometimes when you want to try and get it lower, you haven't got the influence to spend, or you haven't got anything to do. So some turns you'll look at your family tree, you've got no influence to spend, nothing to, and that's fine. The most infuriating part is maintaining your offices, because you'll have generals that are just governors, and governors tend not to earn influence points. But by doing things like making buildings and recruiting in their area, they start to earn a bit of influence. So we'll talk about that really. Earning influence. How do you go about doing it? Well, first and foremost, your generals. Every battle that they win or lose, and every offensive or defensive battles, and they will gain influence. You can sit people as a retainer. So I've done it here. This is a retainer. So I need to find a general that is higher than him, like this one here. Plonk him in there. He becomes his retainer. He earns influence and he earns experience while being a retainer of a general, when that general earns influence or earns experience. So it's always worthwhile. We won't do it with Gundrick. So I've got this little guy here. He's only got 4. It takes like 15 influence. So he's a rank 1 general. He's a new general. He's young. He's only just come into my force. So I want to get him leveled up, because I'm not using him. He's sat there as a statesman. So's Walia, sat there as a statesman. So rather than him just being a statesman and not doing anything, let's get him as a retainer and start levelling up the general. So when I do either put him in as a governor, or I put him in as a general of an army, he's not going in as rank 1. He's going in a rank below my main general. And he's earned himself a ton of influence, so I can make sure that he's maintaining his office. So This campaign's been all about raising the power bar up. Now, I don't want to go too far, because, I start losing loyalty on generals and having major growth issues. Although the growth of the hordes is fantastic, I don't really want to go about doing that yet. I'm still building the hordes. The only reason I'd go up here is for more tax and some integrity. But I can't see me ever wanting to go that high, really, with maybe to there early in the game with a migrator, and best way to do it is raise this and raise this. So to get up there really quickly, wives just gather support. It's 25, so I'll gather support there. That's about 4. I've got another one here I can gather support. I've got next turn I could gather support. I could use this general, I can gather support, or I could adopt and bring one of these guys with influence into my family. Although, spending 50 to gain 28, okay. But not only do I gain 28, the other nobles lose 28. So you essentially, it's a difference of 56. Is that right? No, my maths is bad. So it's a difference of 6. Sorry. I've spent 50, brought 28 in, and lost them 28. So, yeah, a difference of 6, I think. Oh, dear God, I'm showing how bad at maths I am. And that would bring my Dominion under full control, moving this bar up. So, moving the bar up, really easy to do once you've got the influence. You've got the gather support, as I said. Now, I don't actually want to do this. I'm not going to end a turn on this campaign, because this is actually a current campaign. Now, with a high bar like this, how do I lose? How do I drop it down? When I decide to settle, how do I drop it? Well, first thing, I've got to spend all this influence here. So what I'm doing, I'm thinking about settling now. So slowly, I'll just embezzle funds every turn. And as I said earlier, if it fails, my control goes down. If it wins, I gain money. So there's no downsides. I could, as well, with these, I've got the gather support there. You know, I could diminish popularity. If I was trying to raise it and lose the influence here. But I'm not a big fan of things like diminished. If you're desperate to get the power bar up, then go for it. But I'm not a big fan of it because, especially with generals, because I like to have my generals in office. I find that the offices are more important than. Ooh, excuse me. The offices are more important than the power bar. I get little bonuses from the power bar. I get big bonuses from the office. So diminishing the popularity and sacrificing influence on a general, not really something I'd go for. You've got your assassinate option, you know, if you wanted to take a crap wife, if you've got a bad wife, which I don't think I do. I made sure that all my wives are good. No. So if you had a bad wife or a crappy daughter in your family and you didn't want them, you can either marry them off to another family, which can be quite hard, or just assassinate them, and you lose your influence count on your family. So these are just little tricks, very important things to keep in mind, guys, with your family tree. These bonuses in every faction really quite good. Definitely make sure that you've got the influence to use them. And the power bar, nice little bonuses that you can gain if you manage properly. So have a play about, guys. Get used to where you want things. Always, every turn, have a look at your family tree. There's so much you can do to boost your campaign and get your campaign going. And it takes a little bit of time to work it out. Once you've worked it out, you'll be happy. You'll be patting yourself on the back that you've took the time to sit through and work out how to micromanage the family tree, and give yourself these boosts to your campaign. So I hope the guides helped you. I hope that your campaign now can go on and get strong, go from strength to strength. I'll probably do another guide shortly on the diplomacy side of things. How to manage this and make sure that you have a nice big green board like I've got there. This has took a lot of work. Okay, the ones that hate me. I've got more that hate me. But as you can see, I've got where I am and where I'm positioning myself. Everybody's my friend. So how do you make everybody your friend? I'll probably do another video on that one for you guys, and just sort of show you the tricks that I use to maintain a good public order, a good diplomacy even. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please feel free to leave any comments below if you've got any questions at all about the family tree. Please do ask them. I'll do my best to answer every question. If you did enjoy what you saw, please feel free to hit that like button, and by subscribing to my channel, you'll be kept up to date with any further guides that I do. Or I've got 3 campaigns that I'm currently working on: a Vandals one, a Geats one, and an Alamans one. I'm going to be doing an Eastern Roman Empire shortly. Really busy at the moment, guys, with real life and stuff. So it's my guides have had to take a bit of a back seat, so I do apologise for the lack of content as well. But I'll definitely make sure that I get some more videos out for you. So there you go. Get to work on your family tree and get some good campaigns going, guys. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.